Gracious is the founding director of the Stanford Center for Memory Disorders, and he's the principal investigator of a lab at Stanford that's focused on the genetics of Alzheimer's disease. We've just learned that Trump's cuts are now targeting the Roy Blunt Center for Alzheimer's and Related Dementias Research at the NIH. Joining us now is Stanford University neurologist Michael Gracious. Dr. Gracious, thank you very much for joining us tonight.
Thanks for having me, Rachel. Thanks for covering this issue.
Everybody's got a decision to make every day about what to cover. I'm shocked both by the attack on Alzheimer's research, but also because I would expect the political support on this to be bulletproof. What do you make of these cuts?
Well, yeah, first, I agree with you completely. I mean, Alzheimer's is sort of the sort of ultimately nonpartisan disease, right? I think everybody knows somebody either in their family with Alzheimer's or has a friend with Alzheimer's in the family. It really affects everybody. You know, Ohioans and Texans as frequently as Californians. So, you know, this is the first round of cuts that we've seen at the NIH level for Alzheimer's research. This is the intramural program, sort of the flagship of the intramural program for Alzheimer's disease research. And it's already, I think, reflects a big loss in terms of research infrastructure and the progress that's been made over the last 3 years since that intramural center was funded. As just one example, they recently submitted a paper where they've done sort of state-of-the-art whole genome sequencing on more than 350 brains. So this is not just, you know, important research that's being done by investigators. This is also legacy data that reflects, you know, the research efforts of hundreds and thousands of participants over the years. So it really has lots of rippling effects, and this is really just the intramural program we're talking about. There's a much larger extramural program that you know, supports Alzheimer's disease research across the country, and it's unclear whether that's also at risk. I think that would be even more devastating.
Is it fair to say that this hub, this center at NIH, getting cut and getting targeted in this way, is going to have an impact not just on what is done at NIH, but what is done around the world? The intramural, extramural distinction that you're making, I'm not sure is one that our viewers necessarily understand unless you could explain it quickly. I think people are wondering if this is just one center that's going offline or if this is going to set us back as a country.
Right. Well, so the intramural center that we're talking about is one center. For example, there are 35 Alzheimer's disease research centers that the NIH funds across the country, across a whole patchwork of states. One of the best is in Missouri, for example. North Carolina has a great couple of these centers. So even if it's just the intramural program, that's going to be a huge loss. My lab, as you mentioned, does research on the genetics of Alzheimer's disease. So those 350 genomes that are derived from brain tissue are incredibly valuable, and of course they're being publicly shared as a research resource, and that's a large part of what the NIH does, is sharing these hard-fought, you know, hard-to-come-by databases and also biorepositories, so brain banks, blood samples that have been, again, collected over decades. This is not something that you can shut down in a month and then decide a year from now to pick back up. I think there's real risk of a generation or more of data being lost. And this comes at a time when I think we're particularly close to making real headway against Alzheimer's disease, closer than we've been. And that could be, you know, a 5-year window before we get a definitive treatment, or if we really handicap the research infrastructure, that could be, you know, back to 20 years.
Wow, that is stark. Thank you for helping us understand it. Stanford University neurologist Michael Gracious, thank you for your work, and thank you for your clarity tonight. I appreciate it.
Likewise. Thank you, Rachel.
All right, I'll be right back.